Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about something we all struggle with at some point, the battle between the person we are and the person we could be. We all have a weaker version of ourselves, one that makes excuses, doubts our abilities, and holds us back from greatness. But it's time to put that version to rest. It's time to kill the weak version of yourself and step into your true power. The first step to transformation is recognizing the weak version of yourself. This is the version that makes excuses, avoids discomfort, and settles for mediocrity. It's the voice in your head that tells you, maybe I'll start tomorrow, or it's too hard, maybe this isn't for me. It's the part of you that gives up when things get tough, that seeks the easy way out, and that fears failure more than it desires success. Acknowledging this version of yourself isn't about self-hate or tearing yourself down, it's about awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to confront. Think about the moments when you've let this weaker version take control. Maybe you skipped the gym because you were too tired. Maybe you procrastinated on your goals because you were afraid of failing. Maybe you avoided taking risks because you feared judgment from others. All of these are signs that the weaker version of yourself is in control. But here's the truth. That weak version of you is not your true self. It's a temporary state, a mindset you have adopted over time. It is built on bad habits, limiting beliefs, and past failures that have convinced you that you are incapable of more. But you are capable. The first step to unlocking your potential is to separate who you are from who you have been acting like. Take a moment and reflect. In what areas of your life have you been holding yourself back? Where have you been choosing comfort over growth? Where have you allowed fear to dictate your decisions? The weak version of yourself thrives in the shadows, in moments of inaction, in the space where self-doubt grows. But once you shine a light on it, once you recognize it for what it is, you begin to strip it of its power. The weak version of yourself can only survive if you continue to feed it with inaction, excuses, and negativity. Acknowledging it is just the first step. The next step is truly deciding that you are done living under its control. Because once you see it for what it is, you can no longer pretend you don't have a choice. And that's where the real transformation begins. One of the biggest differences between successful people and those who remain stuck is a simple yet powerful mindset shift, taking full responsibility for your life. The weak version of you wants to blame everything and everyone, your circumstances, your upbringing, your past failures, the people around you, even bad luck. It looks for excuses and external factors to explain why you haven't achieved what you want. But here's the hard truth. Nobody is coming to save you. The moment you take full ownership of your life is the moment you regain your power. When you blame external forces, you're handing over control. You're saying, it's not up to me. But when you accept responsibility, you take back control. You acknowledge that no matter what has happened in your past, you have the power to shape your future. You think about this, where you are right now is the result of the choices you've made up until this point. Every decision, big or small, has led you to this exact moment. The job you have, the body you live in, the relationships you maintain, and the opportunities before you are all a reflection of your past actions. That may be a tough pill to swallow, but it's also incredibly freeing. Because it means that if you don't like where you are, you have the power to change it. Taking responsibility doesn't mean ignoring real struggles or challenges. Life is unfair sometimes. Some people start with more advantages than others. But no matter what disadvantage you face, you still have a choice. You can either let your hardships define you, or you can use them as fuel to push harder. Look at the most successful people in the world. Many of them started with nothing, faced rejection, encountered failure after failure, and still found a way forward. What sets them apart is that they refuse to play the victim. So how do you start taking responsibility? First, stop complaining. Complaints do nothing but reinforce a powerless mindset. If something in your life isn't working, complaining about it won't change it, action will. Next, stop waiting for permission or the perfect time to start. The weak version of you wants to wait until everything is ideal. But here's a secret: there is no perfect time. The strongest people make things happen despite their circumstances. Finally, take a hard look at your daily habits. Are your actions aligned with the person you want to become? Or are you reinforcing the weak version of yourself by engaging in self-destructive patterns? Taking responsibility means admitting where you've been falling short and committing to doing better. It means understanding that every choice you make is either building you up or breaking you down. The weak version of you thrives on avoidance and excuses. It wants you to believe that things are out of your hands. But the truth is, you are in control of your life. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start creating the life you truly want. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It can either be your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. The weak version of you is built on a foundation of negative thoughts, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs that you've accumulated over time. It whispers things like, "I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes," or "what if I fail?" These thoughts become the mental chains that keep you stuck, preventing you from reaching your full potential. If you want to kill the weak version of yourself, you must rewire your mindset. The first step is becoming aware of your thought patterns. Many people don't even realize how much negativity they allow into their minds every day. They wake up complaining, go through the day doubting themselves, and end their night worrying about things they can't control. This cycle becomes their reality because your thoughts shape your actions and your actions shape your results. If you constantly feed your mind with doubt and negativity, you will act accordingly, you'll hesitate, make excuses, and settle for less. But if you feed your mind with confidence, discipline, and belief, you will start taking the actions necessary to build the strongest version of yourself. One of the most effective ways to rewire your mindset is to challenge your limiting beliefs. Ask yourself, where did these thoughts come from? Who told me I couldn't do this? Why do I believe I am not capable? More often than not, these beliefs were not created by you. They were imposed on you by society, family, past experiences, or even failures that you've taken too personally. But just because you've believed something for a long time doesn't mean it's true. You have the power to replace those limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Next, you must speak to yourself differently. Words carry energy. The way you talk to yourself shapes the way you feel and act. If you constantly say, "I'm not smart enough," "I'll never be successful," or "this is too hard," then you are programming your mind to accept failure before you even try. Instead, start using affirmations that reinforce strength and confidence. "I am capable of achieving my goals. I am disciplined and focused. I embrace challenges because they make me stronger. I refuse to let fear control my life." At first, saying these things might feel uncomfortable, especially if you've spent years doubting yourself. But repetition is key. Just like you've been conditioned to believe in your weaknesses, you can condition yourself to believe in your strengths. Another crucial part of rewiring your mindset is controlling what you consume. The content you expose yourself to, whether it's social media, the news, the people you surround yourself with, has a direct impact on your mindset. If you constantly listen to negativity, gossip, and fear-driven content, it will poison your mind. But if you fill your mind with powerful, uplifting, and motivational material, you will start thinking differently. Read books that inspire growth, listen to podcasts that challenge your thinking, and surround yourself with people who push you to be better. Most importantly, rewiring your mindset requires action. You can think positively all day, but if your actions don't match your thoughts, nothing will change. The strongest version of you doesn't just think differently, it moves differently. It doesn't just say, "I can do this." It proves it by stepping up, showing up, and pushing forward even when things get hard. The weak version of you is fueled by fear, hesitation, and self-doubt. The strong version of you is built through discipline, belief, and consistent action. The question is, which one will you feed? The weak version of you loves to wait. It waits for motivation, for the right time, for circumstances to align perfectly before taking action. But here's the harsh reality: if you only take action when you feel like it, you'll never achieve anything great. Successful people don't rely on feelings, they rely on discipline and commitment. If you want to kill the weak version of yourself, you have to train yourself to take action, especially when it's hard. Think about all the times you've hesitated. You wanted to start working out, but you told yourself, I'll start next week. You wanted to launch a business, but you kept waiting for the perfect plan. You wanted to improve yourself, but every time you faced difficulty, you backed off. The weak version of you convinces you that you need more time, more preparation, or more confidence before you start. But the truth is, confidence comes from action. The more you wait, the weaker you become. The more you act, the stronger you grow. One of the biggest reasons people fail to take action is because they overthink everything. They create imaginary obstacles in their minds, exaggerating the difficulty of tasks until they seem impossible. They focus on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. But overthinking is just another form of procrastination. The only way to silence doubt is to take action. Even if you don't have all the answers, even if you're not fully prepared, start. Do something. Momentum is built through movement, not endless planning. Another trap the weak version of you sets is waiting for motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Some days you'll feel inspired, but other days you'll feel tired, unmotivated, and full of doubt. And that's when the weak version of you wins, if you let it. But the strong version of you, it shows up anyway. It gets up at 5 a.m. to train, even when it's tired. It works on its goals, even when it doesn't feel like it. It does what needs to be done, regardless of how it feels. That's the mindset that separates winners from the average. Taking action, especially when it's hard, is what builds resilience. Every time you push through discomfort, you strengthen your willpower. Think about the most successful athletes, entrepreneurs, or leaders. They didn't succeed because life was easy for them. They succeeded because they learned how to work through struggle. They faced failures, rejections, and challenges, but they kept going. If you want to break free from the weak version of yourself, you must develop that same relentless mentality. A simple way to train yourself to take action is through small daily wins. You don't have to make massive changes overnight. Just start by proving to yourself that you can show up. If you plan to work out, don't negotiate with yourself, just do it. If you set a goal to work on your project for an hour, don't let distractions pull you away, just focus. If you promised yourself that you'd wake up early, don't hit snooze, get up. Every small win strengthens the strong version of you, and every excuse strengthens the weak version. The weak version of you wants to stay comfortable, to avoid struggle, to take the easy way out. But comfort doesn't lead to greatness. The only way to grow is to embrace difficulty and take action. Even when it's hard, life is tough. Challenges will come, obstacles will test you, and setbacks will try to break you. The weak version of you crumbles under pressure. It gives up when things don't go as planned. It complains when faced with hardship, and it seeks comfort instead of pushing forward. But if you want to become the strongest version of yourself, you need something powerful: mental toughness. Mental toughness is not something you're born with, it's something you develop. It's the ability to keep going when you feel like quitting, to stay focused when distractions try to pull you away, and to push through pain instead of running from it. Mentally tough people don't just survive difficulties, they thrive because of them. They use adversity as fuel to become stronger. One of the first steps to building mental toughness is understanding that struggle is necessary. Too many people see challenges as a reason to stop instead of an opportunity to grow. Every time life tests you, you have a choice. Let it break you or let it build you. The weak version of you says, "This is too hard, I can't do it." The strong version of you says, "This is tough, but I'll find a way." The difference isn't in the challenge itself, it's in how you respond. To strengthen your mind, you must learn to control your emotions. When things go wrong, the weak version of you panics, gets frustrated, and reacts impulsively. But mentally tough people stay composed. They understand that emotions are temporary and that reacting out of frustration only makes things worse. Instead of letting their emotions control them, they use logic, patience, and resilience to navigate challenges. The next time you feel like giving up, take a deep breath and remind yourself, "I control my mind. My mind does not control me." Another key part of mental toughness is embracing discomfort. Most people avoid pain. They quit when things get hard, complain when things don't go their way, and settle for mediocrity because it's easier. But growth only happens through discomfort. Every successful person you admire, whether they're athletes, entrepreneurs, or leaders, has one thing in common. They've endured pain and kept moving forward. They've trained themselves to push through fatigue, rejection, and failure. They understand that the strongest version of themselves is forged in fire, not in comfort. One way to build this ability is to seek out challenges on purpose. Put yourself in difficult situations and force yourself to adapt. Wake up earlier than you want to. Take cold showers. Push yourself harder in your workouts. Face your fears instead of running from them. The more you expose yourself to discomfort, the stronger you become. Over time, things that used to feel difficult will become easy, and challenges that used to intimidate you will become routine. Mental toughness also requires self-discipline. The weak version of you looks for excuses to quit, but the strong version of you stays committed no matter what. Self-discipline means doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It means following through on your promises to yourself, not because it's easy, but because you refuse to settle for less. If you say you're going to do something, do it. No negotiations, no excuses, just action. Finally, mentally tough people never let failure define them. The weak version of you sees failure as proof that you're not good enough. It makes you doubt yourself and question whether you should even try again. But failure is not the enemy, it's the greatest teacher. Every setback is an opportunity to learn, adjust, and come back stronger. The only real failure is giving up. If you refuse to quit, then no failure is permanent. The road to success is not easy, and it's not supposed to be. If you want to become the strongest version of yourself, you must be willing to endure hardship. Control your emotions, embrace discomfort, stay disciplined, and push forward even things seem impossible. Mental toughness isn't about avoiding difficulties, it's about becoming unbreakable in the face of them. The weak version of you is constantly shaped by the environment around you. It feeds off negativity, negative people, negative habits, negative self-talk, and negative content. If you surround yourself with doubt, laziness, and toxic energy, it's impossible to build the strongest version of yourself. To truly transform, you must eliminate the negative influences that are holding you back. Start by evaluating the people in your life. Who do you spend the most time with? Are they pushing you to be better, or are they keeping you stuck in the same cycle? The weak version of you is comfortable with people who make excuses, avoid challenges, and settle for mediocrity. It loves to be around complainers, gossipers, and energy drainers because they make it easy to stay the same. But the strong version of you recognizes that your environment shapes your mindset. If you want to level up, You need to surround yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and push you beyond your limits. This doesn't mean you have to cut everyone out of your life overnight, but you must set boundaries. Stop engaging in conversations that drain your energy. Distance yourself from people who constantly complain but never take action. If someone in your life is always negative, always doubting you, and always pulling you down, ask yourself, is this person helping me become stronger, or are they reinforcing my weak habits? If the answer is the latter, it's time to step back. Beyond people, what are you feeding your mind? The weak version of you thrives on negativity, distractions, and useless information. It spends hours scrolling through social media, watching meaningless content, and consuming news that breeds fear and doubt. It listens to music, podcasts, and conversations that reinforce victimhood and self-pity. But the strong version of you is intentional about what it allows into its mind. Garbage in, garbage out. Strength in, strength out. If you constantly consume negativity, your thoughts and actions will reflect that. Start paying attention to how your content choices affect your mood and motivation. Do you feel inspired after scrolling through social media, or do you feel drained and unmotivated? Are you watching content that educates and uplifts you, or are you just consuming distractions? Every piece of content you consume is either strengthening or weakening you. Choose wisely. Eliminating negative influences also includes cutting out bad habits. The weak version of you relies on instant gratification, junk food, excessive screen time, procrastination, and other self-destructive behaviors. It wants comfort now, even if it leads to regret later. But the strong version of you understands that every habit either builds you up or tears you down. If you constantly engage in habits that make you weaker, don't be surprised when you feel stuck. To change, start replacing negative habits with positive ones. Instead of wasting time on your phone, read a book that expands your mind. Instead of surrounding yourself with people who drain your energy, find those who challenge and uplift you. Instead of letting distractions control your day, create routines that set you up for success. Small changes lead to big results. This process won't be easy. Cutting off toxic relationships, changing your habits, and restructuring your environment takes effort. You will face resistance sometimes from others, but mostly from yourself. The weak version of you will try to justify staying the same. It will tell you it's not that bad, or you can handle a little negativity. But if you truly want to become your strongest self, you have to be ruthless. If something or someone is making you weaker, it has no place in your life. This is about protecting your energy and elevating your standards. If you surround yourself with negativity, you will never reach your highest potential. But if you consciously build an environment of strength, discipline, and ambition, you will become unstoppable. You are the sum of what you allow into your life, so make sure every influence is helping you grow. Discipline is the backbone of success. It's the force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. The weak version of you operates on emotions. It does things only when it feels like it. It skips workouts, procrastinates on important tasks, and breaks promises to itself because it's too hard or not the right time. But the strongest version of you is built on self-discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. If you want to transform your life, you must master discipline. It's not about motivation, because motivation is temporary. Some days you'll feel inspired, but most days you won't. And those are the days that matter most. What do you do when you don't feel like it? The weak version of you finds excuses, but the strong version of you gets to work anyway. It doesn't rely on moods or emotions, it relies on commitment. The first step to building discipline is learning to control your impulses. The weak version of you is a slave to instant gratification. It chooses short-term pleasure over long-term success. It reaches for junk food instead of eating clean. It wastes hours scrolling through social media instead of working on its goals. It prioritizes comfort over growth. But if you keep making choices based on what feels good in the moment, you will never achieve greatness. To break free from this cycle, you need to train yourself to delay gratification. This means resisting distractions, staying focused on your priorities, and doing what's necessary even when it's uncomfortable. The strongest people in the world didn't get there by doing what was easy, they got there by making sacrifices, by staying disciplined when others gave up. Every time you resist the temptation to quit or slack off, you strengthen your discipline. Another key part of self-discipline is setting non-negotiable standards for yourself. The weak version of you operates on flexibility. It allows itself to skip workouts, break routines, and take days off whenever it feels like it. But the strong version of you has rules that are not up for debate. If you decide that you're going to work out 5 times a week, then you do it no matter what. If you commit to waking up early, then you don't hit snooze ever. If you say you'll spend an hour each day on self-improvement, then you make it happen, no excuses. These commitments are not optional, they are law. A powerful way to reinforce discipline is by structuring your day with purpose. Many people struggle with discipline because they live in chaos, no schedules, no routines, no clear direction. This leads to wasted time and unproductive habits. But when you structure your day with intent, discipline becomes automatic. Plan your mornings, schedule your priorities, and eliminate unnecessary distractions. When you have a clear roadmap, it's much easier to stay focused and disciplined. Accountability is also crucial. Hold yourself to a higher standard. If you break a promise to yourself, don't just brush it off. Recognize that every time you do, you weaken your discipline. Treat your commitments to yourself as seriously as you would commitments to others. If you promised a friend you'd show up for them, you wouldn't bail at the last minute, so why do you do it to yourself? The strong version of you values its own word and follows through, no matter what. Lastly, understand that discipline is built through repetition. The more you practice self-discipline, the easier it becomes. At first, it will be uncomfortable. Your mind will resist change. But if you keep pushing forward, discipline becomes second nature. What once felt like a struggle will turn into a habit. You will no longer need to force yourself to be disciplined. It will simply become who you are. The weak version of you lacks control. It lets distractions, emotions, and temptations dictate its actions. But the strong version of you is built on discipline. It does what needs to be done every single day without negotiation. If you can master self-discipline, you can master anything. The weak version of you believes that growth is optional. It stays in its comfort zone, avoids challenges, and settles for good enough. It believes that success is a destination, not a journey. But the strongest version of you understands that growth never stops. It's a lifelong commitment, a daily process of becoming better than you were yesterday. If you truly want to kill the weak version of yourself, you must embrace the mindset of continuous self-improvement. Growth isn't something that happens by accident. It requires effort, intention, and an unbreakable commitment to progress. You have to wake up every day with a hunger to learn, evolve, and refine yourself. It means never being satisfied with where you are, because you know you can always improve. The strongest individuals, whether in business, sports, or life, never stop growing. They don't settle after a few wins. They constantly seek new challenges, new skills, and new ways to push their limits. One of the first steps to continuous growth is developing a mindset of learning. The weak version of you thinks it already knows enough. It avoids new information because learning requires effort. It makes excuses like, "I'm too busy," or "I don't need to learn that." But the strongest version of you understands that knowledge is power. The more you learn, the more you grow. The most successful people in the world are relentless learners. They read books, seek mentors, take courses, and surround themselves with people who challenge their thinking. They know that every new skill, every new piece of knowledge adds another weapon to their arsenal. But learning alone isn't enough. You must also apply what you learn. Too many people consume self-improvement content but never take action. They read books, watch motivational videos, and attend seminars, but their lives don't change because they don't implement anything. Growth requires action. If you learn a new strategy, use it. If you discover a way to improve your habits, apply it immediately. The weak version of you gathers information without execution. The strong version of you turns knowledge into results. Another key aspect of continuous growth is seeking discomfort. Growth only happens when you push yourself beyond your current abilities. If you're not facing challenges, you're not growing. The weak version of you avoids difficulty because it fears failure. It sticks to what it's already good at and refuses to try new things. But the strong version of you knows that the greatest breakthroughs come from struggle. Every time you push yourself outside your comfort zone, you expand your limits. Every time you take on a challenge that scares you, you grow stronger. Self-awareness is also crucial to growth. You must be brutally honest with yourself about your weaknesses. Too many people avoid self-reflection because it's uncomfortable to admit where they fall short. But if you don't acknowledge your flaws, you can't fix them. The strong version of you embraces self-improvement by constantly analyzing where it needs to improve. It asks hard questions. Where am I slacking? What habits are holding me back? What skills do I need to develop? Instead of running from the truth, it confronts it head-on and takes action to improve. Committing to growth also means surrounding yourself with people who elevate you. The weak version of you stays in environments that reinforce old habits. It spends time with people who think small, make excuses, and discourage ambition. But if you want to become stronger, you need to be around people who push you. Seek mentors, coaches, and high achievers who will challenge you to level up. Growth happens when you surround yourself with individuals who inspire you to aim higher and expect more from yourself. Finally, understand that growth is never finished. The moment you think you've made it is the moment you start declining. The strongest version of you knows that every day is an opportunity to learn, improve, and push forward. It never settles, never stops evolving, and never accepts mediocrity. The journey to becoming the best version of yourself is endless, and that's what makes it so powerful. The journey to becoming your strongest self is not easy. It requires relentless discipline, unshakable mental toughness, and an unwavering commitment to growth. It demands that you eliminate negativity, push beyond your limits, and refuse to settle for anything less than your full potential. The weak version of you will fight to survive. It will tempt you with comfort, excuses, and old habits. But every time you choose discipline over laziness, strength over weakness, and growth over stagnation, you are killing that old version and forging a new, unstoppable one. This is your life. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the work for you. If you want change, you have to create it. If you want success, you have to earn it. The choice is yours. Remain the same or evolve into the strongest version of yourself. Kill the weak version. Rise, dominate, become unstoppable.